And in a business, I can tell you one of the single biggest motivators that all of you can do. If any of you are business owners, pay really close attention. What's going on, everybody? I'm Chris Naugle, and welcome back to the show. I wanted to do this solo episode to talk solely about what motivates you. Not just you, but what motivates your kids, what motivates your employees, what motivates most people in the world. Now, if I were to ask that to a group of people, I bet you they would all say, money motivates me. But you're wrong. Money motivates people only to a certain level. And then money no longer motivates them. Trust me, I'm right on this. Now, I'm not saying money's not the motivator and not a part of it, but it's not all of it. You see, they've done tons of studies on this. They've done studies on how money will only motivate someone to a certain level. Matter of fact, I read recently, there was a study done where they said that people that make over $70,000, I think it's a few years old, it might be closer to 90 today, but people that make over $70,000 is a diminishing return. In other words, the more they make over 70, it's less and less satisfying for the person. So what that means is, when someone's working up to make $70,000, they're very motivated to get to that level, but they don't know that that's the level. After $70,000, what happens is it's a diminishing return. The more you make over 70, the less satisfied that extra gets to. And as you make more and more, when you get into the hundreds and then the millions, it's very little. So somebody that makes $1 million a year, when they make $1.5 million, there's very little change in their happiness. It is not motivation. But here's what motivates most people. And I can prove this. And I want you to think about this through your life. Let's start with children. I want you to think of your child. And if you don't have any children, just think about when you were a child. Children are motivated by different things. They're not motivated by money. I guess that depends on the age of the child, but children are motivated by learning. Children are motivated by accomplishing goals, but not all goals. For example, if you tell your child to clean their room, when will that room get cleaned? There's no definite time because you didn't put a definite time to them. Now, if you go to that child and you say, I want this room cleaned by 4 p.m. today. Now, the chances of the room getting cleaned by 4 p.m. go up, but they're still pretty low. But if you then say, I want this room cleaned by 4 p.m. today, and if you do, we'll go out and get ice cream. The chance of that room getting cleaned by 4 p.m. and getting cleaned really well are very high. Now, as a child gets older, obviously ice cream needs to morph. Now, maybe sometimes it's the room gets cleaned and you're going to take something away. Now, this is not always very effective. And I'm talking about children because it's no different for your employees, your staff. It's no different for you. When there is a definite time to getting a goal done, it usually will get done. If you tell a child to clean the room in the next hour, and if they do, there's some reward, some benefit for doing that, they'll probably get it done in the next hour. But if you just say, I want you to go upstairs and clean your room, the room probably will not get cleaned. And then when you go up and you yell at them or you try to take things away, you're going to be faced with resilience. I know this. How? Well, I have a child. Now, my child's 3 years old, and my 3-year-old is like a Tasmanian devil. She's constantly making messes, and I'm constantly asking her to clean those messes up. And very rarely will the mess ever get cleaned up if all I do is ask her or tell her. It never gets cleaned up if I say, Vivi, I want you to clean this up. It doesn't get cleaned up. But if I say, Vivi, sweetie, if you clean this mess up in the next couple minutes, tonight we'll go out for ice cream. Guess what gets done immediately? But I've also tried different things like, Vivi, if you don't clean this mess up right now, I'm taking your phone away. I got about a 50-50 shot as to whether or not that gets cleaned up. Now, if she perceives the phone as value at that moment, then that mess will get cleaned up. But maybe the phone isn't something she desires at that moment. Therefore, the phone is not the missing piece. The phone is not the thing that motivates the child to do what I want. When you go to higher levels of this, Let's just talk about that person making $1 million and how little motivation there is for them to make 1.5, or how it's not motivation. Sorry. There's somebody that makes $1 million. They always want to make more. That's the thing. And a lot of people are like, when's enough? Most people don't have enough. And the reason for it is at a certain level, you take yourself out of the equation. When you make a certain level, and I'm going to go back to 70,000, anything above 70,000, remember, is a diminishing return. So you feel less joy, less happiness the more you make above 70,000. Well, when you get to certain levels, and I don't know what that is, but let's just say 500 or $1 million, when you make more than that, you don't need more to live a better life. Sure, maybe more helps you buy more things, get more fancy stuff, but more doesn't bring you happiness. But you know what gives you happiness? I said it right there, giving. People that make 500 or $1 million or $10 million, you know what motivates them to do more, to work more, to build more, to create more? Giving, helping other people. Now, a lot of people, and especially the media, they make the wealthy out to be animals. They make them out to be just bad people. But the wealthy are the ones giving the most. The wealthy are giving not because they have to, not just because someone tells them they should. They're giving because that's where they find happiness. Matter of fact, the wealthy go out and create foundations. And those foundations create almost like a whole position, a whole thing that they get to create. And then that foundation becomes their sole thing. And not only that, it becomes the family's sole priority. And then they start using that foundation to go out and do good in the world. And that drives happiness, unbelievable amounts of happiness. So now in their businesses and their personal lives, they want to make more so they can put more in their foundation so they can do more good by giving more. I'm not making this stuff up, folks. First off, I know because I'm the one I'm talking about. I was incredibly motivated when I was younger to make $100,000. I remember I was, oh my God, if I can just make $100,000, not much more than 70, right? We all have a number when we're younger that motivates us. And I remember thinking about that. I remember thinking about how awesome that would be if I made 100,000. And then I made 100. And then I made 120, 150, 200, 250, 300. And I can firsthand tell you that as I made more, when I made more, the happiness level was barely moved. Maybe a little, but not much. I'm not saying that you're not motivated to make more, but the reasons for the motivation, that's what I'm honing in on. Now, I don't care if I'm talking about children and motivating a child. Motivating a child is usually going to be most effective when they're in tune or plugged into learning something or obtaining a goal that they've set. Even if it's cleaning the room, you can tell a child to clean the room, but make it productive and almost set it as a goal. I'll bet, you could go to them and challenge them. Hey, you want to play a game? Because most children, my daughter always, play with me. Okay, let's play a game, baby. Let's play. Here's what we're going to do. Your room up there, the playroom, me and you are going to go up there and we're going to see who can clean the room up the fastest. You ready? Go. And then she'll run up the stairs and she'll start cleaning up and I'll go over and I'll barely clean up. And at the end, I'm like, wow, you won that one. You got more cleaned up than daddy did. Your real estate business lives and dies by the network and the connections that you make. I mean, after all, your network, well, it's your net worth. That's what you always heard, right? If that's an area where you desire improvement, well, Private Money Club, it's for you. PMC saves you precious time and money by bringing the real estate world, well, right to you, right in the palm of your hand. So get in on the action like so many others have by going to privatemoneyclub.com and sign up. You made a competition. You created excitement. You created a game. You created a goal. Now with employees, with staff, with your business, with all of the people that help you build it, how are you getting them motivated? Is it just by paying them more? Remember the diminishing return of happiness. You can continue to keep giving employees raises. You can keep giving them more money, but that will not motivate them. And they will leave eventually because they're not in tune with the big vision, the creation piece. I say this all the time. The difference between wealthy or the difference between someone that's rich and someone that's wealthy and someone that's poor and somebody that's wealthy, okay, is one thing: creation. Somebody that's poor or somebody that's not rich and somebody that's rich. What is the big motivator? What is the reason they become rich? Creation. So allow your team, allow your children to create. It's a God-given thing, creation. God created everything we know. I mean, and we all know he did it in 6 days. The seventh day was the day of rest. Read it. It's in the book of Genesis. I mean, it explains it all in the beginning. But when you really think about that, creation is what motivates. So how are you creating your business? How are you creating your life? Are you stagnant? Are you stuck? Are you not happy? Even though you're making more money right now than you were last year, are you still not happy? Why are you not happy? Now, that's going to be varying degrees of answers. But really, when you get down to it, it's because you're not fulfilling a God-given thing. You're not fulfilling creation. You're not creating something. And if you're not creating something, you're not going to find happiness no matter how much money you make. How many wealthy individuals are there, in their statistics, you can look it up, that are unhappy, that when they're asked if they're truly happy, the answer is no, because they've gotten to a certain level where they've arrived. And the arrival syndrome is real, folks. When someone arrives, there's nowhere to go but back down. When I say back down, I don't just mean your wealth goes back down. I mean, your happiness levels go back down because you stopped creating. You stopped having purpose. You stopped creating something. And in a business, I can tell you one of the single biggest motivators that all of you can do. If any of you are business owners, pay really close attention. You really want your team to really want to push hard, then let them in on your vision. Let them in on how they're going to benefit by creating this. And when I say benefit, I don't mean, oh, they're going to get some big paycheck someday, but how they're going to benefit by creating something amazing that solves someone else's problem. I know in the company and what we do, everything we do is we help people take back control of their money by teaching them how to be the bank. And by doing that, we solve a lot of problems for a lot of people. And we get testimonials that come in. You know what fires my team up? When they read the testimonials of how we're changing people's lives. That's just a culture thing. When you create a culture around serving others, when you create a culture around helping other people get what they want, you get what you want. And what you want is not more money in most cases. Yes, money motivates people. So if you want to use money as a motivator, make money a component, or make money something that they earn by solving other people's problems. A lot of businesses focus on sales. When you sell this much, you get this much. But selling is a self-serving thing. Try solving other people's problems. How many lives can we change this month? How many people's lives can we change? How many positive testimonials can we get this month because we've solved somebody's problems? How about we do a contest? How about we do a challenge? Whoever on this team can solve more problems and get more testimonials of the problem solved gets a $500 bonus. Notice how that's different. It's not tied to a specific number. It's not tied to a sales quota, which is self-serving. It's tied to how many lives can we impact. And then the second part is, let's hear what those lives that we impacted are. Let's hear how we changed their lives. So now it's tangible, because you're actually letting the rest of the team actually read these testimonials, read how this thing solved that person's problem. And when you tie what you do, when you create that environment, they call it the culture. When you create a culture that is solely focused on solving other people's problems, it will be, it's pretty amazing how much your team will do to go out there and solve people's problems. Now, you're always going to have one or two bad apples, and they're going to only be driven and motivated by money. And that's greed. They don't belong on your team. And you need to, they say it fast, hire slow and fire fast. You need to get rid of them because they're toxic for your environment. They're toxic for your culture, and they're toxic for your team. So if somebody is solely driven by money, and I've had these people in my organizations, if they're solely driven only by money, they need to go. Even if they're your best salesperson, they're not going to be satisfied. They're going to bring your whole team down. This is a team, okay? Not one person. And when you get one of them, and you will, you need to make a really hard decision. And I know it's always the top salesperson, right? It's always the one that you can't live without. There's no way we'd survive without that person. Actually, there's no way you'll survive with that person, because they're not aligned with the proper goals of your company, which is to solve someone else's problem. There's not a company in the world, not one, that's successful that is not in the business of solving somebody else's problem. Not one. So you're going to tell me your business, because of that one salesperson that's greedy and only wants to solve their own problem, that is the culture you're going to create? Your business will cease to exist. I promise you. It's not just me saying this. It's in book after book after book. If you give, you get, but you can't focus on the get. Zig Ziglar says it best. You'll get all you want in life if you help enough people get what they want. How difficult is that? Give generously without conditions. Always give. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'll give when I get. No, that's backwards. You'll never get because you got it backwards. Give now, no matter what you have. If it's the last dollar in your pocket, give and you will get. I just saw a YouTube video and I met this gentleman. He's a big YouTube guy. He goes around and he was in New York City. I think it was New York or Chicago. And there was a homeless man who had a glass, like a plastic cup of donations, and people were putting money in. And this guy, this kid, I should say, he was dressed nice, walks up to this guy and he's talking to him. Hey, how you doing? Hey, by chance, do you have 25 cents that I could have? I need it to catch the bus. The homeless man reached into his little cup, pulled out a quarter and handed it to him and said, is that all you need? I'm happy, I can give you more. This is a homeless man giving to a complete stranger that asked for help. That man was plugged into what I'm talking about. He gave first. He didn't ask, well, what do I get if I give you a quarter? And he didn't have any money. He was a homeless man on the street. What do you think happened, folks? Well, the YouTube guy ended up bringing him or giving him, I think, $100. But then the next day, the YouTube guy came back, and overnight with that video he had created, they had raised $400,000. He came back and he told this man and took him shopping, got him like shave and everything else. And he had told this man that they raised $400,000, and it just went on from there. You can only get it. But what happened there? You see, he selflessly gave. A quarter, a homeless man. A quarter is a lot to a homeless man in some cases. Like that might be the difference between eating and not eating. He didn't even ask questions. He didn't even hesitate. Didn't even think about it. You can watch the video. He just reached in and grabbed the quarter and gave it to the guy who asked for it for the bus. I want you to really think about that. And I want you to apply that in your life. Just try it. Try it for 30 days. I challenge you to try to give every single day for a period of 30 days. And I guarantee you things will change in your life for the better if you did that. But the second during that 30 days, the second you get greedy and the second it all becomes about you is the second you're going to have to start over. So don't come back to me and be like, it didn't work. No. What did you screw up where you're changed from giving to getting? Try that challenge. 30 days. That's it. 30 days, every day you focus your day on giving. And it doesn't have to be money. It could be going out and giving a smile. It could be going out and giving a hug. Just giving. Okay? Try it. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Money School podcast. I'm going to leave you with this. I challenge you to give for 30 days. And if you do, you will get something so amazing that you'll watch this again and you'll give this video to everybody else. Try it. See you in the next one.